AITA for accusing my wife and MIL of jealousy over my mom's honeymoon. I want to share a story that's been weighing on me, and it involves some complicated family dynamics. My wife and I recently welcomed a beautiful baby boy into the world. It was a joyful occasion, but it's been overshadowed by some tension between my wife, my mother-in-law, and my mom. I hope you'll stick with me as I unravel this story and share why I'm grappling with whether I overstepped my bounds. So, here's the setup. My mom, who has always been a tremendous support in my life, got married just before our baby was born. She decided to go on a 2-month honeymoon with her new husband. To be honest, I didn't think much of it. After all, she had been an exceptional mother to me, always putting my needs first, and I felt she deserved this time for herself. She's been a great mom, always there for me growing up, and now, I figured it was her turn to enjoy life and focus on her new marriage. Now, I knew my wife wasn't exactly a fan of my mom. Their relationship had always been a bit strained, and I didn't expect her to be deeply involved in the early days of our baby's life. My wife and I had discussed this, and I figured it was a good time for my mom to take a break. She deserved to enjoy her honeymoon without any additional responsibilities. But here's where things took a turn. Over the past few months, my wife and my mother-in-law have been making snarky comments about my mom's decision to be away during this crucial time. They couldn't seem to understand why my mom would choose a 2-month honeymoon over being here to help with the baby. They kept saying that a real mother would have prioritized her family over such a trip. They criticized her for not being there for the 4th trimester, and it felt like the criticisms were becoming a constant presence in our home. I tried to stay calm and brush it off, but their comments started to wear on me. They were relentless in their judgment, making snide remarks about what kind of woman would choose a vacation over her grandson. To me, it felt like they were completely missing the point. My mom had given me so much growing up, and now it was her time to enjoy herself. Things escalated one day when my wife was particularly vocal about her frustrations. She complained about my mom not being there and how she thought my mom should have been more involved. She even said that no one has ever heard of a 2-month honeymoon, questioning its appropriateness. My mother-in-law chimed in, making a hurtful comment that suggested my mom must be damaged from having me at a young age if she thinks it's okay to take such a long trip. That was the moment when my patience snapped. I had been holding back my feelings for a while, trying to keep the peace, but I couldn't take it anymore. I told my wife and mother-in-law that their constant bashing of my mom was starting to look like jealousy. I suggested that perhaps my mother-in-law was envious because of her own unhappy marriage and her dependence on my father-in-law, who had been unfaithful. I also hinted that my wife might be jealous because we might never be able to afford a trip like that ourselves. The reaction was immediate and explosive. My mother-in-law was furious. She yelled at me for disrespecting her daughter, and my wife broke down in tears, saying that I was being insensitive. It was an emotional confrontation, and it left me feeling both relieved and conflicted. On one hand, I felt I had finally expressed my frustration. On the other hand, I was deeply aware of how much I had hurt my wife. Since that day, my wife has been distant. She hasn't spoken to me much, and there's a palpable tension in our home. I'm struggling with whether I was right to call out what I saw as jealousy or if I overstepped my bounds by accusing them of it. I don't want to alienate my wife, but I also feel strongly that my mom deserves to be treated with respect, especially given how much she's done for me. I'm at a crossroads, trying to navigate the feelings of everyone involved while also reflecting on my own actions. Was I wrong to accuse my wife and mother-in-law of jealousy? Should I have handled the situation differently, or was I justified in standing up for my mom? This situation has left me questioning my approach and wondering how to mend the rift that has formed between us.